At least we don't have to watch this team for like 2 weeks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast of your favorite lovable losers in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. Want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. If you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And tonight we are breaking down the Sharks 8-3 loss to the Dallas Stars as they head into the Four Nations break. Going to talk about big takeaways, dig into the numbers, and get caught up on some trade rumors that are starting to float around as we are less than a month away from the NHL trade deadline. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. And we are here at the Four Nations break as the San Jose Sharks get pounded 8-3 by the Dallas Stars. As Sharks very much by the end of this game, I think, looking forward to 2 weeks off. So let's start with my big takeaway, which was while the scoreboard was really bad, 8-3, I don't think the Sharks actually played that badly. I think this was a game that got away from them against a much superior team. And two, you just saw the talent discrepancy between the Dallas Stars, who are one of the best teams in the NHL, have been on an absolute tear since the start of the new year. A legitimate candidate to win the whole thing. And the San Jose Sharks, who are now the worst team in the NHL by a clear 4 points, as the Chicago Blackhawks get another point tonight, and as they lose in a 10-round shootout, which was absolutely ridiculous. I was watching that game before the Sharks game, but like, honestly, I thought the Sharks played well. Like, if you take a look at the scoreboard and you just watch the game, like, I thought the Sharks played okay in this game. I thought they played hard. I thought they were, aggressive on the forecheck. I thought they were creating offense in this game, which was I thought they created more offense in this game than they did against the Vancouver Canucks. They just didn't get rewarded for their success. Yes, like, Vitek Vanecek played poorly in this game. The defense left a lot of gaping holes for the Dallas Stars just to kind of skate through and score goals. But I think that's more of a one, talent deficiency, and two, just, Dallas just a really good team. So I don't again, the scoreboard is ugly, 8-3, but like, I felt worse watching after the Panthers game where it just like that got away. Yeah, the third period things got away, and I think you could clearly see the team still played pretty hard, especially the Cunningham line played pretty hard the third period, but definitely the team was ready to get out of the building and go on vacation for the night, because the Sharks aren't back in the rink for 9 days. Like, they're away 9 days before they can get back to practice, which is fine. This team needs a break badly. But again, I don't think overall, I don't think they played that poorly. So we'll focus on the positives here because, again, it's 8-3. There wasn't too much of positive, but William Eklund, nice goal from a nice Macklin Celebrini play. Both Eklund and Celebrini now have hit the 40-point mark on the season. Celebrini is now 1 point behind Lane Hudson. Canadians do play tomorrow, but 1 point behind Lane Hudson when it comes to the rookie scoring chase. And William Eklund, 2 seasons now with 40 goals. Only I think there's 3 players, McTavish, Wyatt Johnson, and William Macklin from the 2021 draft who have at least 2 seasons with 40 or more points, and we still have 25 games left. Like, I think it's 60 points, I think, is a realistic projection for Eklund, especially if he's going to be continuing to play with Macklin, Celebrini playing on the first line power play, et cetera, et cetera. I think 60 points is not out of the question for William Eklund. Maybe he's not going to hit the 72 that I hopefully kind of tried to wish cast project for him at the beginning of the season, but a 60-point season from William Eklund. And I feel like there's actually been a lot of kind of missed opportunities, especially with goals from Eklund. And Eklund's definitely a streaky scorer, and hopefully when he gets back, he can get on a little bit of a hot streak here when it comes to goals. But if you had told me coming out of the season, Celebrini and Eklund would be your top two scorers, like, sign me up for that. Like, I think, as much as losing sucks, and this team is very well on their way to being another, the worst team in the NHL for 2 seasons in a row, and going to be getting a top pick in this draft, which they, of course, need to continue to have talent. You got to also celebrate the little things and the little steps and these little milestones. And William Macklin, who very much was the first kind of foundational piece, or the hope to be the first foundational piece in this rebuild, his continued growth and development, and now that there's more talent around him that he can play with, you're seeing it on a nightly basis of him being able to play up to his standard. And I think this is a good thing, right? Do I think William Eklund's going to be as good as Macklin, Celebrini, and Will Smith? Probably not, but can he be the third best player, or at least the third best forward? Yeah, I think he can. And I think he's well on his way to being that. And like, you need a lot of good players to be a good team. And William Eklund is a good player right now, and he's going to continue to get better. And I think he's really rounded out his 200-foot game. And this is just, we're just kind of checking boxes now for Eklund and for Celebrini and for Smith and stuff like that. But it's good to see Eklund continue. He kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometimes, especially with Celebrini and Smith, and with Celebrini doing insane Celebrini things, and with Smith, the way he's played. And you've seen him, the occasional shift kind of take over, and you're seeing those flashes from Will Smith, which is kind of what we hoped for. If you go way, way back at the beginning of the season, we talked about kind of goals for the season was have these moments, right? And Will Smith's definitely had those moments, but Eklund, I know this is year 2 of NHL, and his 3rd year in professional hockey in North America, including his season with the Barracuda. He's just kind of quietly doing his thing and providing more and doing more, and he's just kind of still scratching the surface of what type of player he's going to be. So again, we're trying to pull out some positives from this game because, right, you lost 8-3. So I will say, though, Vitek Vanecek had a brutal night. If we're gonna, talk about the positive, talk about the negative, which was really disappointing, especially because I thought he played really well in his first game back against the Vancouver Canucks. And right, I know the defense didn't help him out a lot. He got put into a tough position a lot of times with guys wide open in front of him, or the defensive lapses, et cetera, et cetera. But there's also some that he really wants to save, and the one where the Mason Marchment one, where he's trying to kind of swat away the puck, and he's right against the post, and it just kind of Marchment just kind of pushes it in. Yeah, do you want the defense to help maybe tie it up a little bit there better? But yeah, do you also want Vitek Vanecek to make a nice clean a wall against the post there? Yeah, you kind of do. So there was a few ones where I think Vanecek would probably want back tonight. But it was just this, you were kind of hoping, especially with the way Gorgiev's played and with Askarov down in the Barracuda right now and projected to kind of be with the Barracuda for the rest of the season or until there's a potential trade. You'd hoping at least Vanecek could maybe kind of grab the bull by the horns in this game and put up, even if they don't win, put up a really good performance, so that way you're coming out of the break and feel like, okay, at least Vitek Vanecek can play solid enough hockey that we're not kind of giving up these massive, 7-8 goal games that we saw tonight. So little disappointing there. Again, like if the Sharks had lost like 5-3, or I think in my preview I said 4-2, but you felt good about the way they played. If they lost like that and Vanecek played well and like you're feeling okay about it, just kind of tip your hat like Dallas is a really good team. But it was just a poor performance from him, and it was a poor performance from majority of the team tonight. So we'll dig into the numbers of this game, look at how it was actually kind of closer than you would expect, especially if you were just looking at the score. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. If you're looking to get tickets to the tank when the Sharks get back next month, maybe you want to go see Jimmy Butler with the Warriors or get tickets for the Giants, etc., you check out Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that helps do all the hard work for you. Curates the best deals so you don't have to waste time searching through endless ticket listings. Curated deals make it super simple to get great tickets at a great price. No more sifting through thousands of options. And the seat view is a total game changer because even before I hit buy, I can see exactly what my seats look like at the venue. It's so reassuring. Nothing worse than getting to an event realizing your seats stink. The best part, you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guarantee. If you find a better deal elsewhere, they'll refund 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time with easy cancellation options if something comes up. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, before we continue, we dig into the numbers. Do want to, of course, thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your next listen, go check out one of the other great shows here at the Locked On Network. You have Locked On Fantasy Hockey. If your fantasy hockey team needs some help, they got you covered there. You have Locked On Warriors. You want to hear about Jimmy Butler doing Jimmy Butler things. Locked On Niners, Locked On A's, Locked On Giants. Plenty of great stuff here at the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. All right. So this game, again, I know it was 8-3. But if you dig into the numbers, like this game should have been probably closer. So we had 53.28 of 5-on-5 shot attempts, 61-57. And this was very much like the Stars, right? The Sharks score 2 goals early, and the Stars just kind of take over this game. If you're looking at the shot chart, it just goes wee, and then it kind of evens out, and the Sharks kind of climb back into it. Yes, the Stars had a massive lead in this game and could kind of park the bus, but they didn't really either. Like they just kind of kept pushing as well. But still, 61-57 shot attempts, actual shots at 5-on-5, 32-25, scoring chances 20-28. 14-9 high danger chances, 2.95 to 2.44 expected goals for, 7-3 actual goals at 5-on-5. So, like the analytics aren't that bad for the Sharks in this game. Like it was, again, a lot of, I think for the Stars, they got a lot of, like they earned their opportunity. Like the Stars definitely earned their opportunities. They were easily the better team in this game. But whenever they got an opportunity, they were able to score. And the Sharks had some opportunities and just weren't able to capitalize on them. So, again, like the numbers aren't that. First period, like shot attempts are 23-11, but then it's 20-18 and 26-20 in favor of the Sharks. And yes, I know the third period was this game was already kind of out of hand and at 5-2 at that point. But I think that's why I feel like the Sharks still played well, even despite the score. I still feel like the Sharks played well, or they didn't give up. This wasn't one of those games where they just kind of like things fell apart. While things did fall apart in this game, I feel like they they still played pretty well, and they got to the front of the net, and they got scoring opportunities. They just didn't capitalize on them. Looking at the forward lines, so we have the same lines as we did last time. Zettelin, Podorowski, Will Smith played the most at 5-on-5 at 1340. 14 to 17 shot attempts, 5 to 4 actual shots, had a goal, gave up a goal. 0.75 to 0.76 expected goals for. 8 to 10 scoring chances, 2 to 6 high danger chances for that line. I was really worried about this line, and they played pretty well. I mean, they got the one goal, the Zettelin goal there. I thought this line played pretty decently tonight, and I do expect Podorowski to be sent back down to the Barracuda on Sunday, so he can play with the Barracuda because they have a couple games in the midweek this week, especially with all the expectations that everybody's going to be coming back healthy here soon. So I expect him to be back down to the Barracuda here. Eklund, Celebrini, Tyler Toffoli, 11-21, 14 to 4 shot attempts. 7 to 4 actual shots. Didn't have a goal, even though Toffoli, I don't know why they didn't credit. I guess Toffoli technically was off the ice when they, even though he got the assist. Did give up a goal. 0.53 to 0.33 expected goals for. 63 scoring chances, 1 to 2 high danger chances. Great. You know that line controlled pace all night. They were in the offensive zone, creating offense. Had a goal, a beautiful goal, and from a great play from Macklin, Celebrini. That sounds great. Goodrow, Cunning, Colin Graff played pretty solid too. 11-15, 13 to 17 shot attempts. Actual shots was 5 to 11, so not super great there. 0 to 2 goals for. 0.27 to 0.5 expected goals, 3 to 6 scoring chances, and 1 to 3 high danger chances. Okay. Not that, you can kind of live with that, especially with Cunnin and Goodrow, the way those two have kind of played together. But they played hard. They continue to play hard throughout the game. Dewar, Delanger, Grunstrom, 636, 6 to 13 shot attempts, 3 to 10 actual shots. Had a goal, gave up 3 goals, 0.42 to 0.6 expected goals for, 4 to 5 scoring chances, 2 to 2 high danger chances. So, I think that's where the talent deficiency is, where your top 2 lines played pretty solid in this game. And then the bottom 6, I think is, things kind of fell apart there a little bit for them. So, looking at the defense of pairings tonight, it is not pretty. I do wonder, maybe we'll see again, because the Sharks are definitely, they don't really have a lot of answers right now, especially with Cody Ceci getting traded. Maybe Jan Ruda comes in, but Walman Thrun was benched for a good chunk of this game. End of the second period, he didn't play his kind of normal minutes in this game. What was not his best game. He played 16:48. Mario Ferraro played 25, almost 26 minutes in this game. Luke Madillon only played 13 minutes in this game as well. But Walman Thrun played, had the Corsi fours are probably a little bit inflated than what they should have been, but Wallman 51-52, Corsi 4, 17 to 16, Ferraro Thompson 48.39, 15 to 16, Muko doing Liljegren 10 to 12, Corsi 4. I thought the defense was for the most part not great tonight. Wallman continues, I don't know, man, just since his injury, Wallman just hasn't looked the same. You see flashes of it, especially along the blue line where he'll do this little shimmy shake and kind of get somebody, create some space. But I think this break, hopefully coming out of the break, Wallman kind of gets back to where he was before, because the Sharks need him to kind of get back to where he was before. Because he just has not been the same guy, both offensively and defensively for the Sharks. It just has not looked like the same Jake Wallman that to start this season. So Yeah, is what it is. I think the scoreboard lies to a little bit in this game at 8-3. If it was like I said, if it was like a 5-3 type of performance, we'd probably be feeling a lot better about ourselves. But and close the book on this game. Because it was 8-3. So we'll get caught up on some trade rumors floating around here. As again, we're a month away from the trade deadline. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. All right, before we finish up, now's a perfect time, especially if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, like the video, all that fun stuff. If you're listening on Apple, go ahead, leave a nice review. Helps the algorithm to do algorithmy things to get Locked On Sharks out there to more people. But again, thank you guys for hanging in there as we go through another tank season. Things will get better, I promise. Wait till this team is fun again. We're going to have so much fun. But speaking about fun stuff, let's get caught up on some trade rumors. So the fourth period, they put out their kind of trade watch list 3.0, I think, with some slight updates on it. So just, Elias Pettersson, which is still weird. I think that if you traded Miller, why would you trade Pettersson? But anyway, Dylan Cousins, who we talked about in this podcast, does not have the Sharks linked to them, but we'll, I like I said, I don't think that would happen, but it's fun to talk about. They do have a couple Sharks names on here. Mario Ferraro is the 13th name on here, the left-handed defenseman. Ferraro's drawn plenty of interest. He writes, Ferraro's drawn plenty of interest over the last 12 to 18 months, and teams will surely check in on his availability ahead of the team's season's trade deadline. He's got another year on his contract and comes with an attractive cap hit at $3.25 million, which ups his price tag, right? Controlled price, especially for this teams. Even, yes, the cap's going up next year, but having a controlled piece that you don't have to negotiate a new contract with, that's attractive for these teams that are kind of still trying to budget things. San Jose will listen, but the offer needs to be substantial. Teams reportedly linked Colorado. So we talked about Colorado before and kind of what their situation is with the Shark. When it comes to picks and stuff like that, they don't have a lot of picks. It's their prospect pool is not great. And the guys that they have left, doesn't really make a lot of sense. So the next team to kind of be listed, and I assume these are, I don't know what type of order they're in, but anyway, Tampa Bay Lightning, just as a reminder. So Lightning do have 3.375 in deadline cap space, so they could technically fit in Mario Ferraro without the Sharks having to take back a contract or find a team to retain. Lightning do have 2 picks this year, 2 second-round picks. They have the Toronto Maple Leafs and the LA Kings. So those are going to be back of the second-round picks. And they do have their first-round pick in 2026, which is supposed to be a better draft. So as for their prospect pool, it's okay. They definitely are a trying to win now team, et cetera, et cetera. There's nobody that kind of really jumps out at you right now as guys that you'd be like, yes, I want that type of guy right there. But just another team to kind of keep in mind. Maybe you do get those 2 second-round picks. Maybe you could or a second-round pick and a prospect type of thing. And if they're going to be late second-round picks, I'm asking for both because that just gives you more ammunition to go do other things. I do think Mike Grier's going to be very aggressive this offseason to try to start bolstering up this team. So nothing super attractive on their roster. Maybe you do ask for Dylan Duke, who played tonight, scored his first goal. He is he was a 4th-round pick in the 2021 draft, 5'10" type winger. Could be somebody you could potentially ask for, but they also would be we need as much cap or cost controlled players as well. So, and since he is very much a cost-controlled player. Yeah. You do have the Sens, who are also listed. They have their first-round pick this year, their second-round pick, and their third-round pick this year. And they do have they have the Panthers' third-round pick in this year's draft, not their own. And they do have their own first-round pick in the 2026 draft. No second-round pick next year. They don't have the cap space right now. They have $100,000 in cap space, and they have $1.3 million in their LTIR pool. So there would have to be some sort of maneuvering to get this thing done. They have Noah Gregor on LTIR. They have Bernard Docker on LTIR right now, but no, those guys make a ton of money. The Sharks would probably have to take back a contract to make this work. Maybe I don't really want Nick Jensen. I don't really want him, but at $4 million for this season and next season, 34-year-old right-handed defenseman, that would sweeten it too, because then you would be able to you're taking back a bad contract and you're giving away a player. So you could definitely ask for something really you could definitely ask for a first round pick for something like that. Their prospect pool's okay-ish. One guy I really, really, really do like on their prospect pool is forward Blake Montgomery. He was a fourth-round pick in this last draft. He's playing for London right now. He's I believe in that kid. I think he's really good. He's got a power forward type, he's a power forward player. Yeah, he's 6'4", 196, left-handed shot. He was a fourth-round pick in this last draft. I would 100% ask for him because I think he's good. I think he's one of those guys who's going to make the NHL because I just think he's good. That's not what I'm building the draft, the trade around, but he's someone I'm 100% checking in on because I think he's a good player who's going to play. Not today, not tomorrow, anything like that, but he's going to college next year. I want to say it's Wisconsin, if I recall, but he's a player who I would be very interested in adding to the Sharks prospect pool. And then the final team he mentions is the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg, I think we talked about them recently. They have all the deadline cap space in the world. They got $12.5 million. They have their own first-round pick this year. They don't have a second-round pick, but they do have a third-round pick this year. They also have their first and second-round pick next year. Of course, they have Brad Lambert, who, if you're a long-time Locked On Sharks fan, know I love Brad Lambert and think he's really good. They have Chaz Lucius. They do have some guys who are very much NHL ready or soon to be NHL ready players who are playing in the AHL right now. And we know Mike Grier kind of covets those types of players. So they would be a team I think you would try to work something out because they do have players who probably should be in the NHL, but their team's so good, they just don't have spots for them. So you wonder if maybe they package some of those guys up to try to make a deal. And I think for a team that is trying to make a long run, they're the best team in the Central. I think they might be the best team in the West, if right points or whatever. But they're a good team. They're trying to make a run. If Mario Ferraro is your, fifth defenseman on this team, you're probably feeling pretty good about yourself. So, one other just interesting note on here is they have a certain player who Sharks fans might be familiar with, K'Andre Miller, left-handed defenseman from the New York Rangers. The Rangers are still listening to everyone, even though they've climbed back into the playoff race and are willing to package players up in the right deals. Miller's name is still out there. He's set to become an RFA with arbitration rights this summer. Teams reportedly linked: Vancouver, Anaheim, San Jose. So Miller's 24 with a $3.872 million cap hit. He's going to be due for an extension here and a bit of a raise, most likely. Famously was drafted right after Ryan Merkley. I'm also willing to say, I think the Sharks, I'm willing to admit it, guys, after all these years, I think the Sharks whiffed on the Ryan Merkley pick. As much as it hurts me to say it, I think they whiffed on the Ryan Merkley pick. But young player who has played very well in the NHL, maybe this year, and the Rangers are a hot mess this year, has maybe seen his value go down a little bit. It's interesting that he's out there and that the Sharks are potentially linked to him because he is a very good defenseman. And the Sharks have 1,000 left-handed defensemen. I can hear you rolling your eyes right now. But it's just interesting the Sharks names are reportedly linked with him. So would be fun. So that's me for me today. We'll be back on Monday. I got some fun stuff planned out. We're going to kind of take a nice breath here, look at some bigger topics around the Sharks, look at who they have left to trade, kind of get you ready for the trade deadline. We're going to look at, do some prospect check-ins. We haven't done any in a little bit. So we got a prospect brief episode. We'll continue our draft coverage. Got some really fun stuff planned. So make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until Monday. Bye, friends.